I'll ask Scott.
If he has something that's broken in his knee.
Curious what's going on with
So I'm hoping that
campus police.
hoping that they'll
First
actually
getting
do that
public
this year.
feedback.
I told him, it's like,
You
gotta
do it
Physically, mentally, both.
Yeah.
like I did last year.
Yeah.
This is just
And
the
your
way.
tax,
What's that?
you're coming up with a price.
All right.
That's what I was hoping.
5 o'clock. Call the meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. With that, I'll make a motion to approve the November 10th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will abstain.
And I'll follow that up with a motion to approve the November 10th non-public meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
I will abstain.
All right. The select board will meet on the following dates, and I warn you ahead of time, it's a long list. Monday, December 8th will be our budget work session beginning at 1 p.m. Later on Monday, December 8th will be our regular meeting beginning at 5 p.m. Monday, December 15th, another budget work session at 3:30 p.m. Monday, December 22nd, we'll have a budget work session at 1 p.m. And then December 22nd, a regular meeting at 5 p.m. Monday, January 12th will be the budget finalization meeting at 3:30 p.m., followed by the regular meeting at 5 p.m. Monday, January 26th, we'll have a regular meeting. At that meeting will be our first public budget hearing beginning at 5:15 p.m. And then Thursday, February 5th, will be the second and hopefully final budget hearing at 5:15 p.m. Town offices will be closed Thursday and Friday this week in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Any citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall the Thursday before noon, the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. And all meetings are held here in Town Hall as well as available on Zoom. And that information can be found on the town's website, plymouthnh.gov. Chairman's comments. I do want to thank Parks and Rec for another lovely Veterans Day ceremony this year. Just throwing that out there again. And moving on. What do you have for town manager report?
Thank you, Zach. Starting off, Plymouth Police Dispatch Award. On Friday, November 14th, members of the Plymouth Police Department attended the 17th Annual North Country Public Safety Foundation Awards dinner, where Dispatch Coordinator Dean Chandler was honored as Dispatcher of the Year in recognition of his remarkable 42 years of service. Congratulations to Dean on this outstanding and well-deserved accomplishment. 2026-2027 budget update. The 26-27 budget went to the Budget Committee for review on Thursday, October 30th. Ann and I met with the Budget Committee and Capital Improvement Plan Committee on Thursday, November 6th. Department heads met with the Budget Committee on November 6th, 10th, and 13th. The Select Board will start meeting with department heads on Monday, December 8th in review of their 26-27 budget request. 2026 Hazard Mitigation Plan. The Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee met on Wednesday, November 19th with Homeland Security Emergency Management and Hubbard Consulting to start the update of the 2021 Town of Plymouth Hazard Mitigation Plan. At this meeting, we discussed and reviewed the hazard history to include winter weather, flooding, extreme temperatures, hurricanes, severe wind, and droughts for Plymouth from 2021 through 2024, and updated the risk matrix and included natural hazards, technological hazards, and human-caused hazards. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 10th at 9 a.m. at Town Hall. Free holiday parking. Plymouth State University and the town of Plymouth have entered into a memorandum of understanding for free holiday parking in the Silver Hall lots number 210 and 211 on Court Street from December 14th through December 31st. There will be signs in place advising of the free holiday parking. Audit RFP, Ann and I have been putting together and working on a request for proposal for auditing services starting in 26-27. Our current auditor, Jim Roberge, who has worked with the town for the past 20-plus years, will complete the 25-26 audit and then will be retiring. Jim has been involved in the development of the RFP and providing auditing firms that we will send the RFP. Our goal is to send the RFP out in January of 2026. Town Clerk's Office. The Town Clerk's Office will be closed on Friday, December 26. This will be posted on the website and communicated to residents. Plymouth Village Water and Sewer Construction. Water main installation construction continues on Reservoir Road and Highland Street. As we receive weekly updates, we'll keep residents informed in our weekly newsletter and on the Town of Plymouth Facebook page. Plymouth State University Police Services. PSU Police will be disbanding their force as of February 2026. Interim Chief Buffington and I have met twice with PSU administration and PSU Police Chief Stephen Lefebvre with regards to taking over police services on campus. We will continue to meet and work on operations, logistics, and financial contribution. I am hopes to have the agreement for review by mid-December. Additional items, my November town manager's message is available on the website, as well as the 25-26 Select Board strategic priorities are posted. In closing, the best way to stay informed and engage is to join us at a public meeting. The Select Board meets on the second and fourth Monday evenings of the month at Town Hall. You can also visit the town's website at www.plymouthnh.gov to access meeting agendas, minutes, and the latest news. We are committed to open communication and transparency, and your participation is what makes Plymouth so special. Just one last thing, Zach, is I will have a draft of the Select Board town report to you next week for review to get to Amy in the town clerk's office by December 10th.
That's the date. The deadline on it is December
That
10th.
is. But I'll have a draft to you either the end of this week or first of next week.
Perfect. The other thing, I just wanted to remind you, I probably won't be at the first budget hearing meeting on December 8th.
Okay.
It's the first day of my new job, so hard to get away that day. All right, any other questions for Scott? Comments?
Can I go back to the minutes, actually?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I suspect that the minutes reflect what was stated, but under the November 10th minutes, it was stated that during the comprehensive energy audit that Brian Eisenhower attended. I suspect it was Brian Hachey.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
All right. So it just, as long as the minutes reflect.
You are correct.
Well, the minutes should reflect what was said, but it might not be correct.
What is the page that you're on, please?
The page 2 of the general meeting minutes, third paragraph, second line, it states Bill Johnstone, Grace Garvey, Brian Eisenhower, but it was Brian Hachey.
Hachez.
Brian Eisenhower may have been here, but I know Brian Hachey is involved in the Energy Commission
Right.
and is likely here. Sorry for getting to that out of order.
No, that's okay. It's a good catch. Thank you. Anything else for Scott or related to items discussed so far?
I was curious, has there been any feedback from the public regarding the announcement of the police, the Plymouth State Police disbandment?
There has not.
Okay.
Let's talk about some highway department purchase order we have in front of us. Scott, do you want to speak to this?
Yep. So this is part of the storm that occurred back in December of 2022. And part of the funding that we've received and the board has accepted towards the work on future flooding issues, road disaster problems. And this specifically, a portion of this 24,800 was specifically for the engineering of Hunt Road East Culvert. As you know, this has been something that has been in the hazard mitigation plan since 2016, and another project just as Loon Lake Road Culvert was. So we were given the funds to start the engineering process for Hunt Road East, and that's what this covers, is the full engineering survey for $24,800. And as I stated, this comes out of what we call our FEMA account of monies that have been received, approved, and designated.
Questions for Scott? Or have we, that Hunt Road culvert, the one that had the ownership question of between us and Bridgewater, and that's, we're all resolved on that at this point?
Correct.
Okay.
Was that 9 years in
What's that?
the, 9 years in the making? Is that-
Yeah,
Something like that.
just like Loon Lake Road was
Yeah.
15 years in the making.
Wow.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with KV Partners for the engineering for a sum total of $24,800 for Hunt Road East Culvert.
A second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. We have an item on here about zoning board of a ZBA joint meeting and discussion.
Yes, so David Kent is here as the chair of the Zoning Board of Adjustment, along with Fred Kelsey and Stephanie, with regards to some topics they'd like to discuss with the board. I think, David, you have to go into a meeting, right, because you have three people.
Is it more convenient if the three of you join us at the table? Easier than managing the podium.
And a mic for each instead of sharing one.
Your version of the minutes has.
I don't think the mic is.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank Scott for fitting us in. It was very kind of you to bend the agenda for us. I appreciate it. And what I'm going to offer to begin with are my thoughts on the issues that are going to be described. I assume they may have comments that they want to make as well. So I'll go ahead on my own, and afterward, Fred and Stephanie might have something to say.
I'm going to move this closer to you so we can all hear you.
Oh, you really want to hear this?
We do.
You sure?
Okay. Let's see. Let me explain. I'm going to talk about the role of the zoning board. It's a quasi-judicial board, and you should, to explain what that means is, we don't advise people or help people figure out how they can use their property like the planning board. Philosophically, we stand between the notion of, this is my land and I'll do what I want with it, and the other side, which is the community or state has set forward standards and zoning ordinances which affect the land, which, for the betterment of the community, allow us to make judgments about what people can and what people can't do with their land. But I might say that first philosophy does pervade a lot of New Hampshire people, and having watched the American Revolution on TV this week, you know, we all feel a little bit of that. People choose to live in Plymouth. And as a community, by vote, we set certain standards as to both the size and dimensions of property, as well as the uses to which they're allowed to be used. It's like a social contract between community members, and it doesn't make any difference how long you've lived here. We're all equal when we go to town meeting. Members of this town value what we've been able to create here. And people who move here love to be here for that reason.
We as citizens have chosen to adopt the zoning standards, and the landowners in Plymouth are expected to follow those standards as reflected by our ordinance. The ZBA exists as a board that has to make reasoned judgments about what the words of those ordinances mean as they apply to various situations. We as a board cannot be arbitrary or capricious, but often we have to say no in order to protect that which the community says it values as reflected in the ordinance. There are different kinds of matters that come before the zoning board. Often a town administrator, such as a code enforcement officer or you people on your board, make a ruling about somebody's property being out of compliance with a zoning law. We would hear appeals from that administrative decision. Other times, people would like to use their property in a way which seems to conflict with what the zoning law says and will be asked to consider a variance to the regulation. In finality, sometimes regulations allow some flexibility as long as certain criteria are met, and for that we have the concept of the special exception. Like you, we took an oath to follow the Constitution, the laws, and the rules and regulations. Even if we don't personally like a law, a rule, or a regulation, we have to follow it. Now, here's what's important. We are not a rezoning board. We have to interpret and apply the zoning ordinance in accordance with the rules that the community has set. We may be appointed by you, the select board, but we're independent and do not work for you. So here's the issue that I came to discuss. People who do not agree with our decision can ask for a rehearing, and they may explain what we may have gotten wrong and give us a chance to change our decision, and failing that, their appeal is to the Superior Court. At the Superior Court, great deference is given to our decision by law. And of course, the Superior Court can disagree with us as to how we applied our ordinance or law to the facts as we understand them. They can send the decision back to us with instructions to overrule us, or they can overrule us. But the Superior Court is not the end of the line. People can further appeal to the New Hampshire Supreme Court. Nowhere in the statutes or in our ordinance does it say that the selectmen can overrule the zoning board of adjustment. When you negotiate a settlement agreements, that's exactly what you are doing. Of course, you think you're doing the right thing. Maybe because you don't want to bear the expense of going further with the legal expenses, or because you get advice that the town is wrong, or maybe you just understand the zoning law better than we do. In any event, we have to believe that your heart is in the right place. But the result is to suggest to the community that either politics are at play, or that folks can believe that the philosophy is, it's my land and I'll do what I want to do with it. The town will cave in the end. Neighbors and regulations be damned. In any case, we will continue to do our best. And with that, clearly, I as a person am somewhat disappointed with the settlements that have been reached by the board. And that's why I'm here.
David, we have a civics class here today. Do you want to tell them a little bit about the background for this? There's some high schoolers here.
I was just noting that I've sat in many meetings with civic students observing, and this might be the most valuable experience that I think these students could be part of. So,
Well, for one, they're
thank you for bringing this
they're also
up.
getting two meetings at once. So we have a ZBA meeting happening,
Within a select board
within a
meeting.
select board meeting, which very rarely happens.
Very rare.
You're civic students, is that correct? Yes. Okay. Well, what I've tried to explain to this board is we were appointed by them to help enforce the zoning law. People bring their problems to us when they don't think the zoning law is treating them fairly or the like. And we have to sit and apply that law consistent with how it's written. The members of the town voted to put those laws in place. There are some state laws that we deal with, but for the most part, it's what the town has done. And everybody comes to town meeting, they get to raise their hands and say, here's what we want to do. The planning board puts forward a bunch of recommendations about what should be in the zoning law. We've had it since the late 1960s here in Plymouth. And the idea is that we can lessen the negative impact of properties with the friction that different ownership can cause. That's for the public welfare, that we do that. That makes everybody a little better, because we're not fighting with inconsistent uses beside one another, perhaps, or things that are noisy next to places that ought to be quiet, or the like. Everybody can be more comfortable in the town. To some extent, we have zones which are fairly loosely regulated. We have other zones, and you've all been out to the Tenny Mountain Highway, which are relatively tightly regulated. So it's not an easy job that we sit in. And we've recently had some cases where the select board, probably with the advice of their counsel, I have no idea, decided to settle those cases. And perhaps differently than we decided as a group. And that's what brings me here today. Do you have any questions that I can answer about what I've said? Don't be shy. Well, this could get you an A.
Yeah. Scott, did you want to speak to the topic at hand briefly?
Yeah. First, I want to thank the three of you for coming in tonight. And I want to thank you for your service to the town as a volunteer board, being part of the zoning board of adjustment.
I can interrupt, Scott. We don't get paid.
And they don't get paid, volunteering. But thank you very much for your service. And the two cases that I know that have upset you, David, and we've talked about both cases, are cases that the court directed us to move in a certain direction. In the first case, our Tenny Mountain case, Tenny Mountain Highway case, we were directed by the Grafton County Superior Court to reach a judgment and go into a settlement. And if we didn't, that case might be heard in 18 to 24 months, if best. So we moved in that direction. The second case was appealed to the Supreme Court. And when I showed up at the Supreme Court...
Can I stop you there? We should not talk about that.
No, I'm not going to talk about the case. I just want to show the direction that we were given.
Okay.
Is that when we showed up at the Supreme Court for the mediation hearing, we were directed by a Supreme Court judge to mediate this case and settle it because there were new facts in the case that were presented to the Supreme Court. When we got into the mediation session, it was a retired Supreme Court judge who was the mediator, who moved us in a direction of settlement, but only settlement with regards to bringing the property into compliance with the new set of circumstances that were applied. What I can say and what I have learned from both of these experiences is that I feel in the future, when this is brought to us by town council, is that the first step should attend a zoning board meeting and have a conversation about where we are and what is being projected for resolution, and have that conversation first. And I'll take full responsibility for that, of not coming to you on those two cases. Not that I've dealt with zoning board cases in the past, but I was working under the direction of town council and the pressure of both court systems, the Superior Court and the Supreme Court, to enter into a settled agreement for that. But I think in the future, as we move forward and we have any other situations like this, the first stop of mine will be to the zoning board to have that conversation.
Thank you.
And I think actually in that scenario, it probably would make sense for the chair of this board to go with you into that conversation so that we could help to facilitate that cross-board communication, just as like a standard operating procedure. I think that makes sense.
It wasn't, I can honestly tell you in complete transparency and honesty, is that it wasn't despite anything that the zoning board had done, because I absolutely respect your positions and the decisions that you make.
That's not why we're here. If anything, it's to make the future a better future.
Yeah, I think that fixing this process and figuring out how to do that in a way that respects both the authority and the decision sort of tree that's happened that's the right outcome.
You may have, I don't know about you people, but I have, and I'm sure my other members have, heard information about the the Tenny Mountain cases that we dealt with. And it's been very negative. And that's sad. It is sad.
Can I ask a question?
Surely.
So I know these may be pending, and I don't want to get into the specifics. I would like to say thank you to Scott for representing the town in those cases. I know it's not an easy thing to do. I'm new enough to this board that I don't believe we've made any decisions during my time on this board. We have?
Yeah, we have.
One, okay. My question for you is, based on your knowledge of the RSAs that guide you, us, the planning board, how would you see, if a townsperson was aggrieved that this decision had impacted them negatively, what would be their recourse? Would there be, could an individual bring suit against the town for not enforcing its own zoning ordinances?
That's a nice donut hole in this problem, okay? That's an undecided issue.
We've been directed to find resolution by the courts as part of this process, right? But is there not yet another option for others to get involved and say, we're particularly negatively affected by this, and the enforcement is not suiting us? It might be in a butter. It might be,
I think the current status of the law is an aggrieved person has to be either an abutter or the applicant. They've taken away the freedom of so many people within a certain distance, and they've really changed the definition of what an abutter is. So it's up to the town, really.
Yeah.
That's all that's left.
But an abutter still could bring case
They could.
against the town, against
I don't know
the,
if they could bring a legal case. They could appeal the matter.
okay.
Let's say that the case came out in a way
If
that,
they weren't satisfied with the resolution that the town has come to with the property owner, they could still appeal.
yeah, right, exactly.
That's valuable and interesting for, a good piece of information for us to have.
So in my thoughts is that will be the process that we will move forward with, in making sure that the zoning board is included in that process.
Surely, that would be helpful. Yeah. Stephanie and Fred, you got anything you want to say?
Nope, that's. Are there any additional things you'd like from the board to help facilitate such an issue?
I think you people do a good job supporting the planning board with their initiatives to change the zoning law. They put a lot of effort into deciding what's feasible in the political climate of the town, and they should rely on your support for that sort of thing. That is even harder than the kind of thing we face. We have to make a decision. They have to deal with the politics of what might be able to be an amendment to the zoning law that people would accept. And that's a big balancing act.
I would like to say that it's going to be easier for the planning board to make those decisions, knowing that they're an elected body.
Oh, good. Okay.
And not
Why?
to put a stick in anybody's eye.
Why? Why is that easier as an elected body than an
If you're an
appointed body?
elected body, you know that each one of you has been elected by the public to serve there. It's different than suspecting it's almost like gerrymandering. Like
Because the suspicion
the
of your
people
peers?
the people who
you mean?
request to be appointed to that board might not, the makeup of a board that requests appointment may not be representative of the voters of the town. And by having those members elected,
It's validating.
it is. Thank you. Yeah. And I really did not mean this as a criticism.
I was just curious. No, I was
of
curious.
This board
No, curious.
in the past or any past appointments. But having served on an elected board prior to serving on the Plymouth board, which has been appointed up until now, I can tell you that it's easier to feel confident in your decisions when you're an elected member of a planning board.
Well, not to go too deep into that, it'd be interesting to see if we actually have elections for the planning board or if effectively what we have is self-appointment.
Maybe. There might be. But there might be candidates that, we're going to have five
I'm just thinking about
we're gonna
library
have five
trustees,
planning board seats up for
cemetery
election this year.
trustees. Most of those positions are effectively self-appointed.
Yeah. Yeah, this will, I mean, part of it is because, the transition, but in a normal year, there would only be 2 planning board seats up for election, but, we
This year there'd be
had
5.
2 one-year appointments last year,
Yeah.
and we had the seat that was vacated when I was elected to this board,
Mhm.
which was a 1-year appointment as well. So I think there's gonna be 2 3-year seats, 2 2-year seats, and a 1-year seat up for election this year.
Thank
That's all
you.
we have, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you
That's
for
all we
coming.
have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you
Should
coming.
adjourn the CBA.
Yeah, be careful with these chairs.
Can you leave your statement with us?
Oh, sure.
If you don't mind.
Make it easier for the notes.
Appreciate that, thank you.
For the civic students, you get to witness us dancing around one of the more complicated issues in New Hampshire, which is the right to know law, which means all meetings are required to be public, especially if you've got a quorum of the board members. So with 3 ZBA board members here and 3 people on the board, we have a quorum of that board, which means they have to actually have a meeting in order for all 3 of them to be here. So it has to be a ZBA meeting. They can't be here doing their business. And then in addition to that, we're also talking about an issue that's protected from right to know, which is an open legal case. So we don't have to talk about the exact details of an open legal case in a public meeting. And so we could have maybe chosen all to vote to go into a private session to discuss that, thrown all of you out of the room, had a more open conversation about the particular legal issue that was in front of us. But the topic at hand didn't actually require us to go into non-public to get around the sort of hairy details of the law. So something we're always faced with is New Hampshire's right to know law, which is a great law, but creates complexities. I'll go on one more brief tangent. As someone who works in a very internet-focused, forward world, you would love to see the concept of us maybe collaborating on a document in something like Google Docs as a board, maybe creating and drafting new policy because that's what the tools are that are available. But that's highly illegal under New Hampshire right to know, because the fact that we were all in a shared document simultaneously would constitute a meeting and thus be illegal. So you think about some of like the modern collaborative tools and things that you would expect a board of professionals like us to use. Instead, many pieces of paper because these are all legal. The fun of
The other interesting part of that is that if 3 of us happen to be buying eggs at the same time at the grocery store, we either have to not talk to each other or one of us should leave. Right?
Or be
So,
extraordinarily careful about
being
the
in
conversation we're having.
You are
Yes.
not. The right to know law is really funny, but if it's perceived that you're together discussing business, people could assume that it's town business. So in reality, the 5 of us have to take great care to not have the 3 of us be in one place having a discussion in public anywhere.
Yes.
2 of us can, but 3 of us can't.
Yeah. Which means, if you're all going to go to the movies at the same time, you'd be pretty careful not to sit together. All right. On to reviewing and accepting funds from Knollwood Energy.
So we received another check from Knollwood Energy. They seem to be coming, I think, on a monthly basis now, or every other month. This one here was dated 11/10. As indicated when we approved the solar array project, we said any money that came in, it would go back against that loan immediately. So I'm asking for the board to accept the funds and then allow us to expend that $3,626.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the funds in the sum of $3,626 from Knollwood Energy and apply that to the solar array principal.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and now we have a request from a permit to assemble application requesting to waive the $50 fee for the application for this year's holiday parade.
And in front of you, you actually have the special event permit that was issued by New Hampshire Department of Transportation for the parade to take place on December 6th, starting at 4 p.m. and ending by 6:30 p.m. with the impacted state routes, which was approved by Department of Transportation.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the permit to assemble and waive the application fee of $50 for this year's holiday parade.
Have we ever had a rain date? Snow date? I don't recall one.
It will happen rain or shine.
Okay.
It's Christmas.
Or snow.
Or snow.
It has happened
you.
with snow and
Miracle.
rain in the past.
I just wasn't sure if the permit then applied to.
It doesn't because when we met with the Rotary, it was going to be it was going to happen
Okay,
no matter
no
what
matter
the
what.
weather was.
And it'd be
Thank you.
kind of crazy for us to charge ourselves $50. This
Does seem crazy to charge ourselves.
I'm going to recuse myself on the issue of this application.
Are you on
You
the,
can get a second.
No, I haven't gotten a second.
I will second the motion.
okay, further discussion. Who actually puts on the parade? I say it's us, but who actually runs it? Rotary. It's
Park and Rec.
Rotary and
Rotary
Park
is
and
the
Rec. So it's-
applicant.
So Rotary is the applicant in this case, but Parks and Rec is actively involved in,
Correct, in the police department.
yeah, and I was gonna say, I saw Rod Diamond is the requester here, and I wasn't sure if he was requesting on behalf of the police department or Rotary or,
Requesting it on behalf of the town for the Rotary.
okay. I saw his title here was Plymouth Holiday Parade Steering Committee, so I was like, who's that committee under? I'm very, the whole thing's very interesting. So Rotary is why you're going to recuse yourself, Phil. Okay. Any other discussion before we vote on this?
I'm actually the treasurer for the Rotary Club.
Oh, you're an officer, in
I do have
fact.
a
Officer and
potential
and a
financial
Yeah.
conflict, which is why I'm recusing myself.
Side note, I think it's funny that we say Dean of Student Affairs of Plymouth State College. Clearly, the application has not been touched in quite some time.
It was probably Plymouth State College when he attended there.
Fair. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Thank you. All right. And then we've got the Plymouth Selectboard meeting schedule for the year.
So you had asked for the primary and the general to be put on here?
Yes.
And after looking those up, Lydia actually put them on for you here. So you don't really need to approve it, that's just what we're, the dates that they.
Perfect. Elections in March. All right. Okay. Anything in the signature file?
I have just a couple items. I have, at the last meeting, we had the board approve a MS1, which is the value of the town. After the MS1 was signed and submitted to the state, we had found that there was an abatement settlement that was not included, nor was there one particular value for a property on Tenny Mountain Highway. The value didn't come over to the new system correctly. So, the value is going from $815,230,10 to $816,145,510. So this is just a revised MS1 with that new value.
816-14551.
816-145-510.
Oh, per mill.
Oh, every 116,000 is a mill. Yep.
Okay.
So it did go up, over, yeah,
Bringing our taxes down.
well, we're trying.
Only the tax rate.
So every
I know.
816,000 now that you're looking at the budget coming through.
Okay.
Make sure that you're looking at net when you're looking at that. We're working on it.
It's a more complicated mental math divisor.
Oh, stop.
I
So
used
the
to
next,
like when it was like 500,000
no,
almost.
you don't want it at 500,000.
Just saying it was convenient. It was convenient for mental
Can we get it
math.
to a
Yeah.
billion?
We're
Go up?
getting
We're headed
there.
there. We're headed there. Yeah. We're headed there.
The next one I have
The total
is
value of town, not any one individual's.
an intent to cut wood, and this is for property on Bell Road. The lot is 48.09. They're looking at cutting around 10 acres. You will see here that there is a temporary driveway logging permit that has been put into place as required, because there is not a driveway onto that lot at this time. The map is enclosed as well. Thank you. And that's all I had.
All right. Well, while that circulates, let's get into committee reports.
I don't have anything, as Water and Sewer hasn't met since our last meeting.
Okay. Planning board.
The planning board did meet. We had hearings, we started to have public hearings on proposed zoning amendments. There were three, one being the Tenny Mountain Overlay District, one being the state, basically the state RSA required changes, and one regarding accessory dwelling units. So there was not a lot of feedback on many of them, but there was some exchange on the Tenny Mountain Overlay District, a productive discussion. All three are scheduled for a second hearing in the future, and that was really the gist of the meeting. Oh, well, no, there was a site plan. Oh, there was there was a site plan review discussion with Spear Hospital. And the application for site plan review included change of use of one building and a master sign ordinance, but the board was not willing to accept the site plan review since there's no site plan on file for the hospital. So we asked the hospital to come back with a full site plan, including all of the facilities. You know, it's not hard to accept a modification if there's a full site plan on file, but when there is none, I think the planning board is in good position to, at that point, require a full site plan. It's hard to know where the master sign plan has relevance if we don't have a full site plan that shows those locations. So that was the other item we handled.
Has there been significant changes to the overlay district from last year?
Minor changes, some definitions. So some of the definitions that were included were at conflict with some of the changes we had talked about with accessory dwelling units, you know, things like bed and breakfast, and we tried to come up with a definition that's much more general to address owner-occupied rentals, that type of thing. But there have been a few changes on sizes of buildings. I think there was some public input about allowing more flexibility for larger buildings or larger multi-story buildings, and I believe that the board decided to keep the draft language as it was, recognizing that the underlying zoning has no limit on size of buildings. So, you know, there's still flexibility there.
Okay.
Any questions for Phil? All right, Ted, school district.
Plymouth Elementary School will be meeting on December 1st at 6 p.m. Plymouth Regional High School did have a meeting on the 18th. That was largely based around the principal's report and budget discussion about their upcoming budget. So I'll kind of give you the details on the principal's report first. They reported out that their Apply New Hampshire Day yielded 32 seniors who applied to New Hampshire schools with no fees. They also talked about the music performance, had 2 completely sold out shows. And see, the football team had a a good season, but they had a late loss that resulted in them not going all the way. They had 13 out of the 16 students who did the biliteracy program, earning silver and gold seats. As I understand, a couple of the individuals involved were actually exchange students, so they had a little bit of an advantage there. Let's see. On to the budget discussion. I'm going to give you the high points. No new programs are being added or removed this year. So this year represents just kind of a straight impact to the budget based on some of the costs that I'll detail in a moment. So their initial draft showed a 6.9% increase, but after they reviewed it, their current proposal is down to 4.9%. So the most significant cost drivers this year are the health insurance, which I guess the way it works is that these are pretty much a fixed rate. So that represents $397,000 of the increase. The special education portion of the budget has a significant increase due to expanded responsibilities. Most of the costs here are derived from court-placed students, foster care and charter school placements, which we're obligated to follow, and so that could result in up to $600,000 or so of cost. Wow! So if you think about it, these two categories, just these two factors themselves, represent $1 million in increase.
On a cost that's by Constitution supposed to be borne by the state.
Yes. But we don't live in that ideal world, seemingly.
Right.
So they did detail where their other budget factors are. There's some in the regular ed curriculum, special ed salaries. There's some additional costs in there, that $43,000. Transportation, their bus contract went up by about $25,000. Their facilities and utilities, they are subject to the same water district costs that everybody who is using the water district is, so that's up $12,000. Liability insurance is up another $20,000. But they did have some areas where they didn't specifically delineate the cost decreases, but they've got some costs that are down based on IEP requirements. Staff exchange lower due to personnel changes. Speech licensing, computer licensing, facilities, equipment, and debt service all show reductions. They did also highlight some revenue areas, specifically the Pasquani students, where we basically tuition people in from, I think it's Bridgewater, Hebron, maybe Groton, I forget the exact details, but that expected to increase the revenue of about $525,000. And there's some additional savings in contracts of about $54,000. They had also reported out that last year's fund balance was $501,000 and change, so there may be some opportunities to apply some fund balance to reduce. There's only so much they can keep on the books anyway, so likely some is going to come out of it. And that's largely the heavy hitting items from the high school.
All right, any questions for Ted? Well, Conservation Commission is next.
Okay, so the Conservation Commission meeting that was held on the same night at 6 o'clock, so it was a real rush for me to get from one to the next. So they did the first hour and a little bit, they talked about the NRI maps that were presented to them from Moosewood Ecological, going over the details, what changes they might want from those maps to ultimately go into our NRI. So that was the first major part of the meeting. They did have a report out from a subgroup of the commission that was talking about a particular property to assist getting a conservation easement on, and, you know, the PCC using some funds to help facilitate that activity. They did specifically state that they don't want to own the property, they want to, you know, help somebody get an easement on it. Budget is relatively stable. They detailed out that they have paid, I think, $10,000 towards the NRI, and they're waiting for a little bit more to be charged to that. Trails Committee reported out that they had a meeting on October 22nd and at the Enterprise Center, and they talked about mapping the trails, you know, creating a spreadsheet to track who's going to look after specific trail segments. You know, similar to a trail adopters program, but not actually trail adopters. In other words, they would go out, they would look at the, you know, people would look at the trails and then report in so that the actual Trails Committee could go out and do any major maintenance or repairs. They talked about signs going up in particular locations that they've had difficulty with trash being left, you know, up on Texas Hill Road and I think at the Plymouth Mountain Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Signs put up that suggest video surveillance may be in use. And they did also get quotes for plowing for this winter. And the vendor that is basically got the best price breaks it down where I believe they get $24 if they come in and plow. I mean, $44 if they come in and plow, and $55 if they have to sand. That prompted me to ask Scott if it would be the possibility upon request to have the town just back the sander into the Plymouth Mountain lot and sand as needed. And he reached out to Steve and got a thumbs up on that. So it looks like
Can the town of Plymouth trucks also plow those areas, or is it only for sanding as needed?
traditionally it's been privately contracted for plowing.
This is the parking areas for all the recreation areas in town?
This specifically is about the Plymouth Mountain parking lot.
Right.
There are a couple of other parking lots off of Texas Hill Road that it would be difficult to have
Town crew, yeah.
the town crew do anything with.
Okay.
But usually this is not a cost prohibitive thing, but have somebody come in and sand for $55 when, you know, we already have plow trucks that can just back into the lot. It seemed like a reasonable ask, and so we got the thumbs up on that.
Good.
And that's pretty much the large, there was a lot of discussion about continuity for, leadership of the group. And so that's going to be discussed in more depth at the next meeting.
Is there a bunch of people stepping down?
Well, there is at least 2 people who are not wanting to do the leadership role. And the question is, how do we get to the next step of who is going to do that?
Yep.
And that concludes what I know of from the Conservation Commission.
Any questions for Ted? We heard anything from John or Bill on LRPC?
There has not been an additional meeting since the last one, the one I reported on at our last meeting.
Sounds good. I skipped over CIP. We meet tomorrow as well as Advisory Budget Committee.
And we'll meet on December 2nd to do the final review of the budget and the CIP with the Budget Committee and the CIP Committee.
Yep, December 2nd. And tomorrow, I'm right, tomorrow, is that correct? Or is it next week?
It's
Next week.
Next week.
It's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yep.
I was confusing my Tuesdays, not tomorrow, next Tuesday. Thank you for correcting me. Parks and Rec Commission.
So we're gonna first start with the hot off the presses. Lisa Ash, the ski and skate sale were this weekend. First year with the changes, and both businesses recorded, according to Lisa, record-breaking sales, which I think was not anticipated. So that's good news and probably a sigh of relief. Lots of kids' skis, boots, poles.
Fantastic.
Yeah, went really well. Obviously much cheaper than even renting for that price. They're actually looking to expand the sale to include a holiday market. Not sure what that means. Pictures with Santa, food trucks, hat and glove. Jeez, they're always thinking of
I like it.
doing cool ways. So, yeah, always a lot going on. I think as Zach touched on, over 200 participants this year at the Veterans Day ceremony. So thanks again. They are already preparing for next year's summer camp, way more than 6 months ahead of time with their CIT program, as well as future councils coming up. Lots of club work, and those have gone all very well this fall. Swim lessons, I think we talked about that before. 75 to 88% pass rate. Not sure of the numbers, but that's great. Let's see, training goals. We conducted 2 staff training falls this week. Everything going very well. Lots of positive approaches, which is hard to always find that balance with the kids. So that's great to hear. Lots of basketball programs going on with the fall happening. Travel teams as well, clinics, jamborees, tons of stuff with the basketball program. They're still obviously moving forward with trips throughout the end of the year, but they're going to pause from January to March, weather concerns just in case. Less confusion. 29 scarecrows this year at the Halloween event. I don't think town clerk won, but I stuffed the ballot box. I wrote it in.
I would have thought you would have been representing the town of Plymouth Scarecrow as being a select board member.
My word.
Anyway,
Did the ice cream shop not have one?
No.
it melted. Just like that.
It was frosty. And,
Wow.
Yeah, we did. Tough crowd. Robert and his crew very busy with all the railings on the common, which is a constant, unfortunately. Event permits all going smoothly. According to Facebook this year, they've had over 500,000 views and over 60,000 reaches just on Facebook this year. So they are really getting the word out with the community. They've really enjoyed all the partnerships. Once again, fire, parks, police. They have even partnered with over 89 local businesses. They're really out there reducing, helping to reduce costs. So big kudos to them. Skiing state sale, and that's about it. Next meeting is in March. So once again, tons of activities. Had to summarize.
Thank you. Energy Commission. Oh, actually, any questions for Mary Ann? Thank you. Energy Commission.
I'm going to do my best to summarize the meeting despite not being able to attend, but I can tell you what was on the agenda and some of the information I have
points, yeah.
to support it. There was a discussion of the building audit for the town hall. My understanding is Brian provided an update, and Russ Hunt was at the meeting, I believe, or was online because he was for the next agenda item as well. I do have a question for Scott. Has LCI scheduled a return trip for a blower door test at some point?
They have. They've scheduled that with Jesse, and I'm going to take a stab at this. I think it's December 19th.
Great. Okay. I know we were, one of the follow-ups is that the Energy Commission was hoping to have an audit report in December, but if the blower door test is later, it might be a preliminary report. There was a discussion of an Andover energy project. So there's a large solar array going up in Andover, which is group net metered through New Hampshire Electric Cooperative, which means that the owner, if the owner can build a group of customers that's large enough, they would take the revenue and they can offer a discount on electricity to the members of the group. They are looking for large users such as municipalities that could be a member of that group. My understanding is that there would be a discount on the power, but it would have to be through the co-op's power rate. And my understanding is that we're currently under contract with a third-party supplier for, is it Constellation? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this could be something that replaces that contract at some point if that were to mature. And it sounds like there is sufficient financial incentive, so probably worth looking at. There was a discussion of, I was not at the meeting, but I know I'd spoken with Skip Johnstone about that, and he had kind of given me an overview, and based on my past knowledge of group net metering rules at the co-op, I believe that's kind of what had been proposed. We can get clarification before any decision is made on that. There was a discussion of CPACER, which was led by Sarah Brock of Clean Energy New Hampshire. Clean Energy New Hampshire is an advocate of this program for towns to adopt. And what I can give you a summary of that program, which is better than what I had given you in the past, but it's the Community Property Assessed Clean Energy and Resiliency District. So if a town, I believe the Energy Commission is proposing a warrant to present to the town that their hope is to put it on the warrant for this year.
So I met with Brian today.
Yep.
I have several questions on the program before
Yes.
he comes in and meets with the select board.
Okay.
The plan would be that he would come in and meet with the select board on December 8th. We'll
Great.
get that on the agenda. But right now, there are no communities in New Hampshire that participate in the CPACER program.
It's very new.
So I've asked him to research that a little bit,
Yep.
and then asked him to research about the district. How is the district
Defined.
developed? Can
Yep.
it be the entire town? Can it be certain zoning areas? So Brian's going to come back with some more information, and he'll have that to me after Thanksgiving break, and then be here on December 8th to present to the board.
Yep. Can I provide the board with a summary of at least what the goal of it is? So the goal of the CPACER legislation is to provide towns the opportunity, and really it's to authorize a direct financing opportunity between property owners and capital providers as the means to finance qualified energy projects. There's a list I can give you later. And to authorize special assessments into voluntarily by a property owner with the town of Plymouth by means of a written assessment contract as the means to repay the financing for the qualified projects available to property owners by capital providers pursuant to financing agreements. So basically there would be a lien that goes on properties that assures that future owners of properties are still, so that, you know, if you make a large investment into a renewable energy facility that, you know, it may be the primary purpose, it may be a subsequent purpose, but that there's a way to kind of capture that financial value down the road. But so there's more to it. I'm sure that the Energy Commission can provide more information and will on the 8th if necessary. There was a discussion of composting that Ashley provided. There was discussion of the annual report, and then there was discussion with Paul Bemis, who is the head of ASHRAE New Hampshire, and then he's an energy consultant, I believe. Did he present to the the fire
He did.
emergency services building? Okay, great.
And actually, with regards to that, I sent him the RFP, RFQ for the energy section.
Good.
He reviewed that, made some updates to it, so that's been updated.
Great.
I think
Excellent.
the other
He's a
thing
great
on-
resource.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing on the C-PACER program, which will be for discussion with the board, is that there's two ways to adopt the C-PACER program. You could put a warrant article in the 2026 warrant, or you could wait for legislation to be passed, hopefully, in 2026, which would allow the select board to approve the C-PACER program without going in front of town meeting for that purpose.
Right. So it may be worth waiting to see how that goes forward, and it might empower this board to make that decision. Again, I don't believe it puts a burden on anyone. It's simply a financing tool that allows commercial property owners to have some security in their investments around energy projects.
There's commercial property owners and nonprofits as well, right?
So, yeah, it might be.
Is that it?
That's all I have on the Energy Commission.
Any?
Apologies to the commission if I left anything out.
Well, we'll get it next time. Chamber of Commerce?
Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, I met last week. A little update. Total members now at 178. They've got 17 new ones. They had a business after hours with Midstate. 87 attended, including Maggie Goodlander, who is very interested in all the chamber efforts, and I was looking for a way to highlight small businesses. So hopefully that will something will come out with that. The other thing they talked about is partnering with the Small Business Development Center. Creating promotional material, handing out at the small business events, featuring potentially a chamber member. Really, no cost to the chamber and little effort, so it seems a no-brainer almost. The one thing the folks concentrated on for a while was, Maddie's official day is last day, December 19th. So conversations around the transition with that. Maddie's creating, from what I could tell, an amazing amount of documentation. She does so many things behind the scenes. And if I know she's willing to, if someone steps into that role, or is hired, she'd certainly be willing to help with the transition, but, documentation is always huge, including, the yearly, monthly events, budget, coffee hour, all those things. And that is about it.
Any questions for Marianne? No update from Perlac?
I do.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Bad
I
assumption.
received the minutes from the last meeting. They had a guest speaker, which was Jesson Delaney, who is a Plymouth State University student who is helping Perlac develop a GIS online story map of the Pemmy River Corridor Management Plan. They visited Plymouth Village Water and Sewer and looked at the proposal to expand the solar production at the wastewater treatment facility at 53 South Main Street. Additionally, the members received a copy of the New Hampshire River Trend Report and reviewed that. They all found that it was very helpful. They received the 2026 Local Source Water Protection Grant application from NHDES that gives up to $25,000 for projects protecting drinking water sources and up to $30,000 for projects that address climate change. They'll be looking further into that. And then the House Bill 624 will be having a work session on Thursday, October 2nd, which obviously already occurred. And that is in regards to Local River Management Advisory Committee Grant Program. And that was the minutes of the meeting.
Thank you. Police and Fire Building Assessment Committee, as was mentioned, we had a guest speaker. He was amazing, gave us a lot of good information. I think
Paul Bemis.
Paul Bemis, the group was really appreciative of his time. We also met with a property owner, and it's looking reasonable. We're waiting on some information on that piece of land, which we still don't have, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So we're waiting on a little bit more information there before we move forward with anything as a board, warrant article wise, or anything like that. So
So a question we have is that we should have that information early next week,
yep.
but we need to schedule a special bond hearing by December 11th with regards to the purchase of this property, which even if we didn't have the information, we feel it's best to have the special bond hearing to move forward, and we can always remove that from the warrant at our first public hearing if things don't come in tune with what our expectation is.
So are we able to add that to the December 8th meeting? Or do we have to do that as a separate meeting?
We actually have to post it by the 11th.
We have to post it by the 11th. Okay.
But if we can,
So we can do that either on the 15th or the 22nd or something?
yes, the actual hearing itself, yes. Yep.
But we can do that actually it's 22nd. We can do that with another regular meeting. We don't have to have a special meeting for that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're looking at the authority to go ahead and at least consider posting it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, my recommendation to this board is that, I'm on the committee, but would be that we make a motion and move forward with posting that.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we post the bond hearing meeting notice. Sorry.
Second?
For the purpose of purchasing it.
For the purpose of purchasing
Property for a public safety building. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Great. Anything else from that meeting? That was pretty much it. We talked about the property. We talked to Mr. Bemis. It was kind of the thing. Yeah, right. Sorry, I should have deferred to you. Union negotiations. We
met this morning.
Yeah.
At 8:30, and we did go through all of the proposed changes. Largely, the group was in full acceptance of everything that we've previously discussed. There was one point that we kicked back to the union to reword. They're going to have it back to us prior to our next meeting so that we can make a decision on it without going into detail.
I think we're in a good spot with regards to the negotiations that have taken place on both parties' behalf.
Great to hear.
I think we'll be able to, based on the last meeting I attended, I think we'll be able to put forth that agreement to voters with good conscience.
Yep. Agree.
Fantastic. Economic development?
So, I think you already have probably. Yeah, I want to pass one along. I don't want to, so we actually don't meet as a committee till next Monday, I believe, Monday afternoon. Molly and Joseph and I met today like we normally do, kind of the week before a meeting, trying to get a handle on what we discussed last month, how we want to move forward, those type of things. So one of the areas, and Scott, I'm going to defer to you for a little bit. We had touched base as a committee about the university, the UNH extension program, which John Kreis is part of. This program will help the Economic Development Committee help scope out a path of how we want to move forward. Certainly read through it, how it goes into detail. The timeline on the bottom right-hand side, I think, is a great summary I know Joseph and Avery spoke with Scott about that. And the reason I'm bringing that up now is we have a quote for $3,000 for us to partake in this project or this effort. And so we're not quite sure how to work the budget piece out. And I'm bringing this up now as opposed to waiting till the next time we meet, is if we can resolve that. Once again, I'm going to defer to Scott. He had much longer conversation. It'll help next week our meeting, you know, with more detailed agenda. Because clearly, if it's something we can't undertake now, then we're going to have to rejigger, which is fine.
Is this similar or different to the thing we tried to do with the university previously that kind of blew up on us?
So, yeah, very different. This is
through the cooperative extension, which is very firmly set on the programs that they assist municipalities with, and this is one of the programs that they work with, and one of the components of creating economic development and finding out what the focus of the committee is going to be and how they get to that focus and conduct the different surveys that need to be done.
Okay.
these efforts. So two-part. One, with the university was an economic development, partnering with PSU and the town and working those efforts. I just lost my train of thought. So as Scott spoke of, this, we would like to be able to scope out. You can engage with other folks, and then this, between $5,000 and $80,000, define, depending on what you'd like to have them look at. But certainly with the extension program, they can help guide us with that as well. And being $3,000, certainly a bit more palatable.
So this is a for-fee program.
Yes.
They've got deliverables, we've got
Yes.
receivables, and I'm assuming deliverables as well.
Correct.
So this, it's a little more formal than what we did with-
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, as Scott said, very different. And once again, that's kind of the preemptive conversation right now, because, we will have to be more responsible, to define what we're looking for when and if we'll be working with UNH.
I think it makes a lot of sense to support the time that the Economic Development Committee is putting in with a modest investment in this type of study in support of that work. I think the future payoffs of economic development work will benefit the town well into the future.
Yeah, it'd be great to get us on a roadmap as well, because as you know, there's just all these tentacles. So this will help define some paths for us as well, and the town, obviously.
So we will
The
look at
budget people.
we will look at the budget
Okay.
and see if there is an area that we can find you're looking for $3,000 and
Yes.
that will cover the entire project.
Correct.
Nothing for future budgeting needs.
Not as far
What
as
is
this
that?
initial scoping piece goes, and then we have to what area you define it, and then it grows even larger.
Then we have to invest in the
Exactly.
scope.
So
Exactly.
next, in 26, 27, are we going to be looking for another 6,000, 10,000?
It all depends on what gets.
Well, and that's the
what we
other
wanna focus
piece
on.
that I know, once again, Scott's talked about, and we as a group, we're going to need to define as well.
Will you know that at March town meeting?
I think right now it's hard to define that until the study and surveys are done. But I think once that's done, we'll have a better idea of what additional and future costs impact will be.
Okay,
And if
But
it's
we'll be able
modest,
to-
we'll try to figure it out in 26, 27, and if not, then it'll be
Right.
27, 28.
Yeah, there's certainly other efforts
Trying to-
we can focus on it, and so who knows, maybe we won't even be able to start work on that for 5 to 6 months. So once again, we just kind of wanted to get a leg up on it.
And Ann and I are meeting tomorrow after we meet with you to do our final review of the budget for the presentation that will go to the CIP and Budget Committee on December 2nd. And have some financial forecasting of what this budget will present to the taxpayers.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mary Ann?
That's plenty.
All right, that completes our committee reports. Any public comments? Yes, please. If you could approach actually, there's no microphone.
It's on the floor.
Oh,
Literally.
Having been a school teacher, I could probably speak loud.
I just want to make sure it gets picked up by the microphone because of YouTube. That's the only reason.
One moment.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah, that one stopped working.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Sorry, I just had one question relative to the Plymouth Regional High School budget. Are there large amounts of money scheduled for either remodeling or changing any of the buildings at the high school?
Based on the discussion this past week, no.
Thank you.
And do you know off the top of your head when the budget hearings are for the school, when those start? Probably not till January?
They're going to certainly talk about it at the next meeting on the 2nd, but I don't recall the hearing schedule.
Okay. It's usually
Yeah, it's
a little further out. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you, public. No non-public for this evening.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Phil.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did you say no?
At least you're consistent, Phil.
Because he wants to
I
stay
had to
here.
say no for you last time.
You gotta keep people.